I broke rule number 7 last summer. My sister hasn't spoken since. And my father won't tell me what he buried behind the woodshed. I came back to the cabin 6 days ago, the first time in 6 years. The door to my childhood bedroom was open. I never left it open. None of us did. Nailed to the inside of that door was the list, the rules we grew up with. 10 rules my grandfather wrote in 1947. Rules we followed every summer without question. But one of them, rule number 7, was crossed out. In fresh blood. My name is Michael Thorne. I'm 28 years old. I'm a data analyst from Portland. I deal in facts, numbers, provable patterns. What I'm about to tell you breaks every pattern I know. What I'm about to tell you will make you question everything your family never told you. My grandfather died on March 14th. Heart attack. Quick, the doctor said. Peaceful. The funeral was small, 16 people. Most of them I'd never met. Distant cousins from towns I'd never heard of. They all asked the same question. Will you keep the cabin? I didn't understand why they asked it like that. Like it mattered. Like there was a correct answer. My father inherited the property. 300 acres in the Cascade Mountains, 2 hours from any real town. The cabin's been in our family since 1947. Every summer, without fail, we'd spend July there. Me, Emma, our parents. When I turned 22, I stopped going. College, then work, then excuses. The truth is, I didn't like how the place made me feel. How quiet it got at night. How my father would stand at the windows after dark, just watching. Emma kept going. Every summer. Just her and our parents. Until last year. Last July, something happened. Emma came back different. Wouldn't talk about the trip. Started sleeping with every light in her apartment on. I'd call her, and she'd answer, but say nothing. Just breathe into the phone for 30 seconds, then hang up. When I asked our father what happened, he said, "She saw something she shouldn't have seen. That's all. Nothing else." 3 weeks ago, Dad called me. "We need to go back. One last time, all of us. Your grandfather? He left instructions." I said no, obviously. I have a life, a career, a girlfriend who doesn't understand why I won't talk about my childhood. Then he said, "Michael, we have to arrive before sunset. Not after. Do you understand?" The way he said it, the fear in his voice. I said yes. We arrived at 4:47 p.m. I remembered the time because Emma checked her phone every 3 minutes during the drive, compulsively, like she was counting down. The cabin looked exactly as I remembered. 2 stories, dark wood, green shutters, surrounded by pine trees so thick you couldn't see more than 20 feet into the forest. The kind of place people call charming in real estate listings. The kind of place where cell phones don't work. My mother went inside first. She moved, fast, like she wanted to get it over with. Emma followed, head down, hands in her pockets. My father waited by the car, staring at the tree line. "Dad?" He didn't look at me. "Get inside, Michael. Help your mother with the shutters." "The shutters?" We closed them at 9, exactly 9. Not 9:01, not 8:59. You remember that, don't you? I went inside. The main room smelled like cedar and dust. Everything was exactly where it had always been. The stone fireplace, the worn couch, the kitchen table with the uneven leg, and on the wall above the fireplace, the sign. Wooden, hand-carved, burned letters, cabin rules, ST 1947. I'd seen it 1,000 times growing up. We all had. But I'd never actually read it. Not carefully. It was just always there. Background noise. I read it now. Rule number 1, never whistle after dark. Rule number 2, always close the shutters at 9 p.m. exactly. Rule number 3, don't answer if something calls your name 3 times. Rule number 4, Never look directly at the tree line at night. Rule R5. Keep salt lines intact around all doorways. Rule R9. If you hear scratching under the floorboards, ignore it. Rule R9. Crossed out, unreadable. Rule number 8. Never go to the root cellar alone. Rule number 9. Leave food on the back porch before bed. Rule number 10. If the rain stops suddenly, get inside immediately. My mother was at the sink, filling a bowl with salt. Her hands were shaking. Mom, what are these rules actually about? She didn't look up. Your grandfather's superstitions. Superstitions. Yes. Then why are you pouring salt? She turned to face me. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying in the car, and I hadn't noticed. Because we follow the rules, Michael. We've always followed the rules. The second night was worse. I'd been lying in bed for 3 hours, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain hammer the roof. Sleep felt impossible. Every creak of the cabin, every gust of wind. My body was wired, waiting for something to go wrong. At 2:17 a.m., I heard it. My name. Michael. I sat up. The voice came from outside, behind the cabin, near the tree line. It sounded like my mother. Michael. I got out of bed, moved to the window. The shutter was closed, but there was a gap, maybe half an inch between the slats. I looked through it. The rain made everything gray and blurred, but I could see the edge of the forest, the darkness between the trees, and standing just inside that darkness, a figure, female shape, wearing what looked like my mother's nightgown. Michael. That was 3 times. Rule number 3. Don't answer if something calls your name 3 times. But my mother was outside, in the rain, in the dark. Something was wrong. She needed help. I moved toward the door. My hand reached for the handle. I was about to turn it when someone slammed into me from the side. We hit the floor hard. My head cracked against the wood. Stars exploded in my vision. My father. His hand clamped over my mouth, his knee pinning my chest, his weight crushing down on me. His face was inches from mine, eyes wild, terrified. Don't answer. Don't make a sound. I tried to push him off. He was stronger than he looked, or more desperate. The voice outside continued. Michael. 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 But it wasn't stopping at 3 anymore. Michael, why won't you answer me? Michael, I'm scared out here. Michael. The voice was changing, subtly at first, the pitch shifting, the rhythm of the words stretching. Michael, it's so cold. Michael, please open the door. My father's hand pressed harder against my mouth. I could taste blood where my teeth cut into my lip. And then the voice changed completely. It sounded like Emma now. Michael, help me! It has me! Michael, it's pulling me into the trees! Michael, I can't! Then it sounded like my girlfriend, Jess. Michael, baby, why did you leave me? Michael, come outside! Michael, I drove all the way here to find you. Then it sounded like me. Michael, open the door. Michael, let me in. Michael, I'm so cold out here and I can't remember how I got outside. Michael, please, I'm scared. My father's whole body was shaking. His hand stayed clamped over my mouth. The voice kept cycling. Mother, Emma, Jess, me. Grandfather's voice. A child's voice I didn't recognize. A woman screaming. A man laughing. Michael, 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 Michael. It wasn't one voice anymore. It was dozens, all saying my name, all begging me to open the door. And then, beneath all of them, I heard something else. Something was at the back door, testing the handle. The handle turned. Slowly, the door pushed inward, an inch, and stopped. The salt line. The scratching intensified. Frantic now. Angry. Then it stopped. My father slowly removed his hand from my mouth. He didn't get off me yet, just stared down at me. waiting to see if I'd try for the door again. I didn't move. From upstairs, my mother's voice. Real this time, sleepy and confused. "David, what's going on down there?" My father called up. "Nothing, honey. Go back to sleep." He finally climbed off me, stood up, offered me his hand. I took it. "That was rule number 3, he said quietly. "Don't answer if something calls your name 3 times. What would have happened? I don't know. No one who's answered has come back to tell us. He walked to the kitchen, checked the salt line at the back door. It was intact, but something had disturbed the wood. Long scratches, 4 parallel gouges, like claw marks. He poured himself whiskey, drank it, poured another. "Get some sleep, Michael." "Dad, was that thing really out there? Or was it just sound? Like a recording?" He looked at me. His face was gray. "It was out there. How do you know?" "Because I could smell it through the door. Rot and wet earth and something else. Something old." I didn't sleep the rest of that night. None of us did. The next morning, I went back to the attic. The journals were where I'd left them. I'd only read the first one. There were 6 more. I started with 1952, the year Sarah disappeared. August 3rd, 1952. Little Sarah has been missing for 3 days. We've searched everywhere. The police came with dogs. The dogs won't go near the tree line. They bark and whine and pull away. One of them, a bloodhound, supposed to be the best tracker in the county, it looked at the forest and started whimpering. Then it bit its handler and ran. August 6th, 1952. We found Sarah this morning, by the river, just like Bill said we would. She was sitting on a rock, feet in the water, humming. When Martha called her name, she turned around and smiled. That smile. God help me, that smile. It was too wide. Her mouth opened too far. And her eyes. They were Sarah's eyes. But there was something else looking out from behind them. Something that had moved into my daughter and was wearing her like a coat. August 7th, 1952. Sarah won't stop smiling. She hasn't stopped since we brought her home. Not when she eats, not when she sleeps. Yes, she sleeps with her eyes open now, still smiling. She doesn't speak, doesn't cry, just smiles and watches us. Martha is terrified. Bill says we should take Sarah to a doctor in Portland. I know no doctor can fix this. August 10th, 1952. Sarah died last night. Heart failure, the doctor said. But I know the truth. Whatever came back from the woods wasn't Sarah. And when it was done with her body, it left. We buried her next to the cabin. Bill read from the Bible. Martha couldn't stop crying. I just felt relieved. God forgive me. I felt relieved. I turned the page. The handwriting changed. More frantic. It didn't leave. It's still here. I can hear it at night, under the cabin, scratching, calling Sarah's name in Martha's voice. It wants back in. It had a taste of us, and now it wants more. I skipped ahead. 1967, July 20th, 1967. The thing in the root cellar is getting louder. Dad says we have to keep feeding it or it comes up. I asked him what he means by feeding it. He wouldn't answer, just handed me a bag of raw meat and told me to leave it at the bottom of the stairs. I did. When I came back up, I heard something moving down there. Wet sounds, chewing sounds. July 28th, 1967. Emma saw it tonight. She's only 4 years old. Too young to understand the rules. Too young to know not to look. She came to me crying, said there was a tall man standing by the trees, and he had too many arms, and was smiling at her with no face. This ends with us. It has to. I won't pass this curse to another generation. I stopped reading. Emma. My grandmother's name was Emma. My sister's name was Emma. I flipped through the rest of the journals, looking for any mention of my sister, Our Emma. I found it in the last journal. 1983, the year before my grandmother died. August 1st, 1983. Emma is turning 25 this month. Martha and I have made our decision. We won't let this continue. No more feeding it. No more following rules. We're going to end this. August 15th, 1983. Martha is dead. Heart attack, the doctors say. But I know better. She went into the root cellar 3 nights ago. Went down with a can of gasoline and a box of matches. She was going to burn it out. She came back up 30 minutes later, walked past me without saying a word, went to bed, died in her sleep. I found the gasoline can at the bottom of the cellar stairs, still full. She never lit the match. August of 1983. I understand now. We can't kill it. We can only contain it. The rules aren't protection. They're a prison. As long as we follow them, it stays beneath the cabin, stays in the root cellar, stays in the trees. But if we break them, it gets out. Music, realization, dread. The final entry, August 30th, 1983. Emma asked me today, "Grandpa, why do we have to follow the rules?" I told her, "Because the rules keep us safe." She said, "Safe from what?" I couldn't answer her. She's too young to know, too innocent. I pray she never has to find out. I closed the journal. My hands were shaking. Emma, my grandmother, 25 years old. She saw them, and she tried to kill it. Emma, my sister, 25 years old. She saw them, and she opened the root cellar. History was repeating. I found Emma in the kitchen. She was standing at the window, staring at the tree line. Emma. She didn't turn around. Emma, we need to talk. I know what you read, she said quietly. The journals. How? Because I read them too, last summer. After it happened. She finally turned to face me. Her eyes were hollow, dark circles underneath. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. You opened the root cellar, I said. She nodded. Tell me everything. She sat down at the kitchen table, hands folded in front of her. When she spoke, her voice was flat, emotionless. It was July 17th. Dad and Mom went to town for supplies. Said they'd be back by sunset. I was alone. I'd been hearing sounds for 3 days. From under the cabin, scratching, tapping. Like Morse code almost. Like someone was trying to communicate. Rule number 6, ignore it. I know. But it sounded like a child crying. A little girl. I thought maybe, God, I don't know what I thought. That maybe Sarah was still down there somehow. That maybe she needed help. Emma's hands were shaking now. The cellar door was locked. 3 deadbolts. But Dad's keys were hanging by the front door. I took them, opened the locks one by one. The door was so heavy. Solid oak. I had to pull with both hands. When it opened, this smell came out. Like meat rotting in summer heat. Like something dead that had been dead for a very long time. I almost turned back. Should have turned back. But the crying got louder, coming from deep in the cellar. A little girl's voice. Please help me. I'm scared. Please. I went down. 13 steps. I counted each one. The flashlight barely cut through the darkness, and the cellar was so much bigger than it should have been. The cabin is maybe 30 feet across, but the cellar, it went on. Room after room, like a maze. And the walls. Jesus, Mike, the walls. They were covered in names, carved into the stone. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. Going back, I don't know. The oldest dates I saw were from the 1700s. Names and dates and sometimes other things. Messages. Help us. It took me. Still alive down here. Don't let it wear your face. I followed the crying. Through the rooms. The smell got worse the deeper I went. And I started seeing things. In the corners. Movement in the shadows. Things that looked like people but moved wrong. At the end of the cellar, there was a room, bigger than the others. And in the center, Emma stopped, swallowed hard. In the center was a chair, a wooden chair, very old, and something was sitting in it. What was it? Her voice dropped to a whisper. It looked like a person, the way a shadow looks like a person. It was so dark I could barely see, but I knew it was looking at me. I felt its eyes, and then it spoke. "Hello, Emma. We've been waiting for you." It used Grandpa's voice. Perfect. Exact. Down to the way he'd clear his throat before speaking. And it knew my name. I tried to run, dropped the flashlight. It rolled across the floor, and I saw... God, I saw its face in that rolling light. Just for a second, it had features, eyes, nose, mouth. But they were in the wrong places. Like someone had described a human face but never actually seen one. I ran, fell twice on those stairs. When I got to the top, Dad was there. He'd come back early. He saw the cellar door open and just... his face went white. He grabbed me, pulled me up, slammed the door shut, locked all 3 deadbolts. He shook me, hard. Said, "What did you see? What did it say to you?" I told him. He went even more pale. Said, "Did it say anything else?" And I lied. What did it say? Emma's eyes filled with tears. It said, "We'll see you again soon, Emma. We'll see all of you. Your brother, too. Michael. We've been saving a chair for him." And then it laughed, with Grandpa's voice, and the little girl's voice, and voices I didn't recognize, all at once, all laughing. I've been dreaming about it every night since, the same dream. I'm back in the cellar. All the names on the walls are glowing, burning, and at the very end, carved fresh into the stone, I see mine. Emma, 2024. And every night in the dream I watch new names appear underneath mine. Yours, Mom's, Dad's. Emma looked at me, really looked at me. It knows we're back, Mike. It's been waiting. And this time, I don't think it's going to let us leave. That night, the third night, the scratching started. 11:43 p.m. I'd been watching the clock, counting down to midnight like something would happen when the date changed. And then, beneath us, scratch, scratch, scratch. We were all in the main room. No one wanted to be alone. My mother was knitting, her hands moving automatically, not looking at what she was making. My father was reading the same page of a book he'd been reading for an hour. Emma was staring at the floor. I was watching the windows, watching the shutters, watching for movement in the gaps. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The sound moved, across the floor, following the layout of the room. My father's jaw clenched. Ignore it. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It stopped directly beneath where I was sitting. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Deliberate, purposeful, like it knew exactly where I was. I stood up. This is insane. Something is under this cabin, and we're just sitting here pretending. Sit down. My father's voice was cold, hard. No, we need to do something. Call someone. The police. Fish and wildlife. Someone. My mother laughed. A bitter, broken sound. Call them with what phone, Michael? We're 40 miles from the nearest cell tower. The landline hasn't worked since 1987. The scratching got louder. Something was angry. Then I noticed the floorboard, right where I'd been sitting. It was moving, just slightly, rising and falling, like something underneath was pushing against it, testing it. The floorboard, I said. It's... The board buckled, cracked. A piece splintered off. Through the gap, I saw darkness. Complete darkness. The kind that doesn't reflect light, and then... movement. My father stood slowly, walked to the damaged board, His face was expressionless. He'd done this before. He knelt down, examined the gap. From beneath the floor, a voice. "Let me out! Please! I'm so cold down here! I've been here so long! Please let me out!" My mother made a sound. A whimper, like a wounded animal. "Mommy. Mommy, is that you up there? Why won't you help me? Why did you leave me down here?" It was using a child's voice, a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Sarah's voice. My father's hands were shaking. He pulled a knife from his pocket, started prying up the damaged board. "Dad, what are you doing?" "I'm fixing it," he said through gritted teeth. "Before it gets worse." He got the board loose, lifted it away. Underneath was a hole, maybe 8 inches across, and below that, nothing. Just darkness. The flashlight beam didn't reach the bottom. It was like looking into empty space, and then something reached up through the hole. A hand. Music. Sharp spike. Terror. Gray skin. Long fingers. Too many joints. The same hand from the shutter. The same hand from my nightmares. It grabbed my father's wrist. He didn't scream, didn't make a sound, just gritted his teeth and pulled back. Hard. The hand held on. I grabbed his shoulders. Pulled. Emma grabbed me. My mother grabbed Emma. We pulled together. The hand wouldn't let go. And then I saw the arm, sliding up through the hole. It was too long. The elbow bent the wrong way. The skin was slick and pale, like something that had never seen sunlight. More of it was coming through. A shoulder, gray and deformed. Then part of a torso. My father screamed, actually screamed, and the hand let go. The thing retreated back into the hole. Fast, like it had been pulled from below. We fell backward in a heap, tangled together. My father's wrist was bleeding. 5 puncture wounds. Deep. The fingers had gripped so hard they'd broken skin. He stared at his wrist, then at the hole, then at me. Now you see why we don't break the rules. He got up, grabbed a board from the pile of firewood, nailed it over the hole, used 12 nails, hammered each one until his hands shook with exhaustion. When he finished, he poured a line of salt over it. My mother bandaged his wrist in silence. Emma was still staring at the floor where the hole had been. "It's getting stronger," she whispered. "Last summer it couldn't break through the boards. Now it can." "What does that mean?" I asked. No one answered. The scratching didn't come back that night. But we all heard something else. Voices. Under the cabin, in the walls, behind the windows, whispering our names. All night. The 4th day, the rain stopped, just for an hour. Maybe 2. The first break we'd had since arriving. I needed out of that cabin. Needed air. Needed to see something that wasn't walls and shadows and salt lines. I went outside. The air was cold, clean. The forest smelled like pine and wet earth. Normal things. I walked to the pump. We needed water. We needed to do normal human tasks, or I was going to lose my mind. I filled the bucket, started back toward the cabin, and I made the mistake. I looked at the tree line. Rule number 4, never look directly at the tree line at night. It was 3 p.m., daylight, gray sky, but daylight. I thought the rule didn't apply. I was wrong. There were 7 of them, standing between the trees, perfectly still, perfectly spaced, about 30 yards away. They looked like people, from a distance, vaguely human-shaped, but wrong. The proportions weren't right. Arms too long, legs bent at odd angles, heads tilted too far to one side. I blinked. They were closer, 10 yards away, still standing, still motionless. They hadn't walked, they hadn't moved. They just appeared closer, like frames cut from a film. I could see more detail now. They were wearing clothes, old clothes, rotted and torn. One wore what looked like a dress from the 1950s. Another wore overalls. Another wore a uniform. Maybe military, maybe police. Hard to tell. Their faces. They had features. Eyes. Noses. Mouths. But they didn't move right. The eyes didn't blink and sync. Some didn't blink at all. The mouths hung open, showing too many teeth. Teeth that went too far back into the skull. I blinked again. 5 yards away. Close enough to see their skin. Gray and mottled. Close enough to see that their eyes didn't have pupils. Just white. Blank white. Close enough to see that they were all looking directly at me. I tried to move. Couldn't. My legs wouldn't work. Like my body knew that running would trigger them. One of them, the one in the dress, tilted its head further. The neck bent at an angle that would snap a human's spine. Its mouth opened wider. My father's voice from the cabin, distant but urgent. "Michael, Michael, can you hear me?" I couldn't answer. Couldn't look away from the figures. "Michael, walk backward. Slowly. Don't turn around. Don't run. Don't blink. Walk backward." I took a step back. The figures didn't move. Another step. The one in the dress opened its mouth even wider. I heard bones cracking. Saw the jaw unhinge like a snake's. Another step back. I counted my steps. Focused on the sound of my feet on gravel. Didn't blink. Didn't look away. 8 steps. 9. 10. The figures were still there. Still watching. Still motionless. 15 steps. I was at the porch now. I could hear my father breathing behind me. 3 more steps. Then I'm going to pull you inside. 1 step. 2. 3. My father yanked me backward. I stumbled through the door. He slammed it shut. Through the deadbolt. He grabbed my shoulders, spun me around. "Did you look at them?" "I didn't mean to. Did you look at them?" "Yes." He let go of me, stepped back, put his hand over his mouth. "Oh God. Oh God. Michael. What? What's wrong?" He sat down heavily on the couch, put his head in his hands. "How many were there?" 7. My mother appeared at the top of the stairs. She'd heard. "David." "I know." "What do we do?" "I don't know." Emma was in the corner. She'd been there the whole time, watching. "They'll come tonight," she said quietly. "They know he saw them. They know he's aware now." "Aware of what?" I demanded. "What the hell are those things?" My father looked up. His eyes were red. "The 7 who went missing in 1947. The ones who tried to settle this land before us. The ones who tried to kill it. They're still here. Not alive. Not dead. Stuck between. Trapped in the forest. And now they know you can see them." "What does that mean?" My mother's voice, barely a whisper. "It means they can see you too." Emma stood up, walked to the window, looked through the gap in the shutter. "They're still out there, all 7 of them. Closer now. Standing at the edge of the clearing. They're waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For dark."